call the City Council to evening. Good evening, everyone. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Good evening, everyone. A few opening remarks before we get started. This evening's meeting will be conducted a little different than our usual council meetings that are in chambers. Tonight we'll be implementing the Governor's executive order regarding the relief for the open meeting law. This allows the councilors to participate remotely. All councilors are present, and we will conduct a roll call shortly to confirm. Councilors have been asked to review the agenda items before the meeting and contact the mayor or department heads to obtain answers to their questions prior to the meeting so this meeting can be conducted efficiently. All of our votes will be conducted via roll call. The mayor is available should he be needed to address any council questions. The council will be conducting public hearings this evening with the public participating remotely. We will try to make this as seamless as possible and ask for your cooperation and patience as we all work through this together. I will discuss this further before the start of the public hearings. I ask the members of the public that are participating to keep their computers and or phones on mute until the public meeting portion of the agenda. Tonight, there are 27 items on the agenda. I will now ask the clerk to call the roll to confirm attendance.
Councillor Wagner.
Councillor Wagner is present.
Councillor Doucette.
Councillor Doucette is present.
Councillor Dumas.
Councillor Dumas is present.
Councillor Tenera.
Councillor Tenera is present.
Councillor Irish.
Councillor Irish is present.
Councillor Navin.
Councillor Navin is present.
Councillor Landers.
Councillor Landis is present.
Councillor Oram. Councillor Oram, I believe you're muted.
Councillor Oram is present. Thank you.
Councillor Perlman.
Councillor Perlman is present.
Councillor Roby.
Councillor Roby is present.
And Councillor Ossing.
Councillor Ossing is present.
11 present, sir.
Right. All 11 councilors are in attendance for this evening's meeting. I will now ask the city clerk to read agenda item number 1.
Minutes of the City Council meeting, June 22nd, 2020.
Mr. President,
Councillor Tenera.
motion to accept and place on file.
There's been a motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the minutes from our last meeting in June. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councillor Roby.
Councillor Roby votes yes.
Councillor Irish.
Councillor Irish votes yes.
Councillor Navin.
Councillor Navin votes yes.
Councillor Perlman.
Councillor Perlman votes yes.
Councillor Landers.
Councillor Landis votes yes.
Councillor Doucette.
Councillor Doucette votes yes.
Councillor Oram.
Councillor Oram votes yes.
Councillor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councillor Tenera.
Councillor Tenera votes yes.
Councillor Dumas.
Councillor Dumas votes yes.
Councillor Ossing.
Councillor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the minutes is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Before we get to the next part, we have some key reminders for the public. We have 4 public hearings this evening. 1 for Eversource, 2 for the Shell Station, 1 for a sign permit, and 1 to extend for 24-hour operation, and then the McGee property at 339 Boston Post Road. So for the people participating, these reminders are for you, and I can do it again later if we drift, but please keep your computer or phone muted when not speaking. Unmute to speak, and mute when you finish speaking. If you're calling in via the phone, the unmute function is by pressing *6, and we'll remind you throughout the meeting. Just like if the public was in the chamber, please be respectful while waiting for the public hearings to start, as the council needs to conduct its business. The system does not work when everyone tries to speak at once. We will let everyone speak, so we will do our best to get each individual an opportunity to speak, so just please be patient. We're working through this and learning as well. If you're watching it on TV, be mindful, there's a delay. So if you're participating, you really need to either watch your computer or listen to your phone. You can watch it on TV, but recognize there'll be a delay in that. Should there be any technical issues while we're conducting the public hearings, we will recess and determine if we can correct them. Our IT department is here and will monitor the system for issues, and should there be any unruly, I don't anticipate that, everyone's pretty civil, who are disrupting the meeting, they will address that at that time. And at the conclusion of all 4 public hearings, the council will recess and the system will be clear to participants so that the council can continue with the remainder of their agenda. So with that, I will ask the clerk to read agenda item number 2.
Now is the time for the public hearing on the petition from Eversource Energy to install approximately 500 feet of 8-inch low-pressure gas main as part of a system improvement on South Bolton Street and Main Street to Granger Boulevard, order number 20-100-8044. And in addition, we have a communication from City Engineer Thomas DePercio regarding recommended conditions for the Eversource petition on South Bolton and Main Streets to Granger Boulevard.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So this public hearing will be conducted in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and then questions from the city councilors. I will ask all individuals that plan to speak to please provide their name and their address. So with that, we'll start this public hearing with the public speaking in favor. Any members of the public speaking in favor of the Eversource proposal for the 500 feet of 8-inch line on South Bolton Street? Are there any members of Eversource on the call?
Yes, Samuel is on.
Samuel, can you state your name and address?
My name is Samuel Ijeoma.
Thank you, Samuel. You want to just describe the project?
Yes, sure. We are requesting a grant of location to install approximately 500 feet of 8-inch plastic main on South Bolton Street, from Main Street to Granger Boulevard. The purpose of the project really is to improve the pressure of our gas main in the area so that we can better serve our customers.
Thank you, Samuel. Are there any other individuals speaking in favor of the project? Any other individuals speaking in favor of the project? Any other individuals speaking in favor of the project? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any members of the public that have questions on the project? Questions from the public? Questions from the public? Any questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Any questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Landis.
Councilor Landers.
I do not have a question, but I have a request. I would like to ask for a suspension of the rules before we can vote on this petition tonight.
You don't really need, we close the public hearing, we can just vote on it if you like the...
Okay, we don't need a suspension then.
No, if you like the conditions that the engineering department has had, you can make a motion to approve the permit with the conditions outlined by the Department of Public Works.
Okay, I will read that condition if you'd like. A memo that Tom DeFercio sent us back on July 16th. And he mentions, as we have done on recent petitions from Eversource, I request the approval of this petition would be within the following condition: that Eversource complete their ongoing work on Pleasant Street, Bolton Street, Poirier Drive, prior to mobilizing their forces on this project. That we will further condition that the work, as the exact location of the new main, with the final paving requirements and so forth, as part of the subsequent permit that is required from the engineering department. I guess I can speak for Tom and what we've seen, that Eversource, they've done a good job, this spring, late fall, spring, and Tom watches them very closely, and it seems like they're doing what the Department of Public Works. So that being the case, I would like to vote on this tonight, Mr. President.
Okay, let's finish this part of the public hearing, see if there are any other comments or questions from the city councilors. Are there any other comments or questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you. I wonder if the petitioner can tell us what the impact of the traffic on the street will be. Will will it impact the ability for one lane of traffic? What's the specifics?
Samuel, are you able to address that question?
Yes. Obviously, our goal is to minimize the impacts that we have on the traffic. So having said that, typically when we undertake these projects, we only need a narrow width for us to be able to install the main. So we're not going to totally shut down the road if that is your concern. There is still going to be traffic moving. So I don't know if I've addressed your concerns. The road is not going to be totally shut down, is what I'm trying to say.
Councilor Roby, does that address your concern? I mean, the fortunate part of this location is there are alternate routes to reroute traffic if need be.
There are, and I guess my concern for that is the detail that will be in place will be protecting Eversource workers, but in fact will not detour traffic. So can there be a request to actually have a detail whose specific job is to alert the public and direct traffic so that they don't get to the intersection and the light and then know they can't go straight? I mean,
I can, so I guess to allay your concerns, one thing we can certainly do, we can provide a traffic management plan. That way, in addition to protecting the road workers, we can also, give the public notice on the detours they could take. If that is what the city would like to see, yeah, we can certainly provide that.
okay. So I guess I'm thinking more of the Weed Street aspect for people that want to use Weed Street to come onto South Bolton or to access Weed Street from South Bolton. They're not just coming straight down or coming straight up.
If there's something you would like to see, we can incorporate that in our design. Looking at the map, it seems like people of Weed Street could, if they want to get on South Bolton, they can go through Court Street, if I'm not mistaken. That is one option, but again, we can look at it thoroughly to come up with a very good plan that doesn't significantly impact public traffic.
Thank you. I think it's appreciated, and I know that the chairman of the committee will reinforce the fact that the paving to cover over this needs to be properly done so that doesn't become an issue in the future. Thank you.
Noted. Thanks.
Mr. President, Councilor Landis, I do have one more question.
Councilor Landers.
Does he have any idea how long this project could take? How many days?
Sure, I can try to address the question. So looking at the schedule, I like to think if you give us the grant of location that we need, I expect us to be in and out of the location within 30 days. Yes.
So when would you like, Mr. President, just to add that, when would you like to start this project?
We would like to start early August, if we have the necessary approval from the town. So beginning of August is our scheduled start date.
Okay, because that, working with the engineer department, when those, he gives the go-ahead based on some of your other projects. Of course, I know it's only mid-July, but I always start worrying about the fall also. You know,
Yes.
the winter.
Yeah.
As it was
Like
94 degrees today. Thank you, Mr. President. That's all the questions I have right now.
Did I hear another counselor that had a question? Any other counselors with a question?
Mr. President,
Counselor Doucette? Oh, he's frozen.
He thinks it's cold out.
hold on. There we go. Okay, is this better?
There you go. Yep, you're in.
Okay. So my concern would be that, question to Eversource, they need to be able to complete the work on Pleasant Street, Bolton Street, and Poria Drive before starting this effort. If they're going to start this effort in early August, what's the time frame do they see as completing those other projects?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide exact completion dates for the other projects because I have limited knowledge of what the schedule is for those projects. I can only speak of the current one that we're discussing.
If I could answer, Councilor Doucette, I did speak to Tom DePercio. He said Poria Drive's done, and Bolton and Pleasant, they had some health issues with some of the workers, but they're close to finishing. So he seemed to indicate that those would be done here in short order. So if it's an August start, I think that would suit. And again, as the city engineer has told us, he makes sure he won't issue the permit if stuff's not in order. So he takes care of that.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I appreciate the clarification. I just wanted to make sure that, expectations were met properly. So thank you, sir.
Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? So I close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. Councilor Landers.
Okay, my motion is to approve the petition.
Approve the permit with the conditions from the DPW?
With the attached conditions, yes.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the petition with the conditions from the DPW. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none?
Conditions from the city engineer.
City engineer, thank you very much. My bad. So again, it's a motion to approve the permit with the conditions from the city engineer. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yes.
Counselor Tenara.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Counselor Dumas votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
And Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
It's 11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the permit for Eversource for 500 feet of gas line on South Bolton Street with the conditions of the city engineer is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 3.
Now is the time for the continued public hearing on the application for an LED sign special permit from William Camuso on behalf of Lincoln 431 LLC, the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street, order number 20-100, 7948E.
Again, this public hearing will be conducted in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. I will now open the first part of the public hearing for the public speaking in favor.
Yes, my name is Bill Camuso. I'm the owner of the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street, and I am obviously in favor of getting this permit. I was not included in the prior meetings. Steve Pedro from AUB Engineering, I believe, is also here tonight, and he was more of an expert in the sign and it's how it's manufactured and all that stuff. But hopefully he'll chime in and answer any questions you have. Steve, are you there?
I am.
Steve, can you give us your name and address?
Steve Pedro with AUB Engineering, 414 Benefit Street, Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
Thank you, Steve. Steve, you want to describe the sign for the council and the public?
Sure. Quickly, it's a refacing of the existing freestanding sign at the corner of Lincoln and Pleasant Street for the Shell Station. Right now, they have the manual price of gasoline where you have to change the placards for the price change. I'm sure you're familiar with the new industry standards that these prices are now LED. They're changed remotely at the attendant's console, and we are seeking a special permit for this LED sign. The modification of the sign will actually be a decrease in the size. Right now, the panels all add up to about 106 square feet. Once we do the refacing, it would be down to about 76 square feet. Right now, there's some blank panels that we wouldn't be reusing. So essentially, it's a 2-foot high price panel for regular gasoline, and then a 12-inch high diesel panel for the diesel price. It has the Shell logo on the top, and then we would have a rewards panel similar to what's there now, the Stop and Shop, 10 cents to 30 cents off.
Thank you, Steve. Are there any other members of the public speaking in favor of the project? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public speaking in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Question I have, a lot of the residents in that area are certainly very happy the way the renovation has gone with the Shell Station. Some of the feedback I've received, as well as in opposition, is that currently, right now, in the residential area, the illumination currently under the canopy at the gas station site is absolutely very, very bright. And I didn't know if there's any means of able to dim that type of lighting that's currently now under the canopy.
Steve, you want to address that, or Bill?
I was going to say our office had no input in terms of I don't know if they relamped the canopy or if new lights were put in. So I'm at a loss to discuss exactly what was done.
I can chime in. This is Bill Camuso, the owner again. We did not change anything on the canopy other than paint it. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago, we changed the lamps from, the old mercury vapor lamps to LED.
That's possible.
But they're the same number of fixtures, they're just LED lights. We haven't really changed anything other lighting.
That's fine. I just wanted to let you know that, it is a residential area, and some residents did voice their opposition in having an LED lighting there, joining with the other illumination. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the answer.
Any other councilors with any comments?
President Ossing, it's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Just if you ended up repainting the canopy white, that would obviously increase the brightness of the lights that were already there. So you may not have changed the lighting, but you changed the background to make it brighter. So if there's anything that could be done, possibly after a certain time to reduce the lighting so that between, let's say, 11 or after 11 or so, the lights can dim down, it would be beneficial for the people in the neighborhood. I'm not sure how that can be doable, but you may consider that.
I'm sure that
in the next special permit.
It's Bill Camuso again. Right now you turn a light on and all the light canopies on the light, all the lights on the canopy come on, but I'm sure an electrician could rewire it so that, only 60% of them come on, and I surely would be willing to do that. My only concern is that, it still be bright enough so that it's safe and, customers feel safe coming in.
Understandable.
Any other questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President, this is Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you. I just want to reflect on the comments made by Councilor Irish. We did receive communication from residents when it was a misunderstanding that there had to be a variance from the planning board because of the zoning. We found out that in fact that was not true. If this had been sent to us without the request for the planning board variance, we would have dealt with this a long time ago. So unfortunately, the petitioners had to wait through all of that till it was found out that in fact that variance wasn't needed and that they simply need to get the permit for the special permit for the specific sign. In driving through the city and areas around the city, it seems like every Shell station that has been redesigned has the exact same canopy. And I don't know for sure whether they're all as bright as they are, as this one is. I think they probably are, but I think where this one's located, maybe in a darker area of the city where when those lights are on, it does look very bright. I personally don't think the addition of the particular sign will add that much brightness to it. So if there's something that the petitioner can do to lessen the lighting on the canopy, I think that would probably be appreciated by the public that lives around this time, or excuse me, around the Shell station.
Yeah, and Bill Camuso again. As I mentioned, I gladly would take care of that.
Any other councilors with questions? Any other questions from the...
Once again, Mr. President.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you. Thank you to Councilor Roby. Yes, that is correct. Like the residents had mentioned that when they did renovate it, it looks like they have added lighting, maybe not just under the canopy, but they have added lighting to that area. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Irish. Any other questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Questions from the councilors? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing. It is in urban affairs, and I'm sure the applicant will come back to see if it's the same as my kitchen. It's called a dimmer switch that works to change the intensity on the lights. Okay, thank you. We will move on now to agenda item number 4.
Now is the time for the public hearing from William Camuso on behalf of Camuso Enterprises LLC to operate a gas station, the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street on a 24-hour basis pursuant to Chapter 342 of the Code of the City of Marlborough, Order Number 20-100, 8046.
Again, this public hearing will be taken in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. I will ask anyone speaking to please provide their name and address. We'll open the first part of the public hearing with the public speaking in favor.
Okay, again, it's Bill Camuso. Previously mentioned that I'm the owner and operator of the Shell Station at 431 Lincoln Street. I've been there, purchased that location in May of 2005, and we've been operating it 24 hours a day since. I think it was the beginning of June, I was informed that we needed to have a 24-hour permit in Marlborough, which I was unaware of. So that day we stopped operating 24 hours a day, and we're operating from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. right now currently. I guess obviously the reason I would like to be open 24 hours a day is that it's profitable. We, service enough customers on the midnight shift that it's, pays the payroll and we make a little money on it. It also affords us the ability to, clean the station during the slower hours, and particularly at this stage in our lives, disinfect the store a lot more than we did previously. It's, does afford a convenience to customers, and we do get a rush, between 4 and 4:30 in the morning for those people that take off and have to be at work early, like landscapers, and, they typically come in and buy their sandwiches and, newspapers and cigarettes and water and ice for the day. And if nothing else, I'd like to at least ask that we'll be allowed to, open at 4. But it would be my opinion that, my preference would be to be open 24 hours a day, as it's, it is profitable to be open, and it's realistically easier to get someone to work that midnight shift. And then there's someone always there. You don't have to worry about them opening or, being broken into, and that it's safe. And I guess that's it.
Thank you, Bill. Are there any other members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Any members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the public? Are there any questions from the public? Questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. Public speaking in opposition. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak in opposition? Members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors? Councilor Wagner.
Mr. President, thank you. My question is, so currently you're closed from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. During that time, do you dim the lights or shut lights out, or does it stay lit? I'm curious about the impact on the neighbors. If you are open 24 hours, does that mean they never get a break from the light, or is it not going to change from how you currently operate?
No, currently we, really just to conserve electricity, we shut all the outside lights off, and we leave a few lights on inside the building, really so that the police could see if there was someone in there.
Any other questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick question. Could you mention again what time before 6 a.m. that you'd be picking up landscaping business, do you think, sir?
We get a little bit of a busy rush at like 4:30. But I don't know if you know, we have a little deli there now, so, you know, they're buying sandwiches and stuff, and you know, so they would have to get there before 4:30.
No, absolutely. I've heard some good things of sandwiches as well as the pizza. So like I said before, this is you've done a great job right there, very positive with the deli and the pizza. But I was just questioning what time you could pick up some more business prior to 6. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I have another question sort of around one of the residents in advance had sent us some photos of the image at night, and I guess this is without the LED lights. It is very bright in the evening, and I'm just curious, I know to Councilor Wagner's point, you mentioned that the lights necessarily wouldn't be dimmed if it was operating 24 hours. Are there any other suggestions that you're thinking about to mitigate the impact on the neighborhood and making sure that there isn't any, you know, noise or music or audio coming out of the gas station as well?
As far as audio, we're not allowed to have any audio in Marlborough, so that there theoretically should be no noise coming from the pumps or anything outside the building. As I mentioned previously, I'm sure I could I can't do it myself, but I'm sure I could get someone to, you know, the electrician to rewire the lights on the canopy so that we could shut down some of them. And as I also mentioned, you know, you want to keep it bright enough so that you don't have to worry about, you know, you don't want it dark, you know, for safety reasons. But I'm sure, I mean, I'd be glad to meet someone out there and you know, figure out which lights to shut off. I'm obviously not a lighting specialist, but I'd be, you know, more than willing to meet the town engineer or someone out there at night one night and figure out, or first thing in the morning, and figure out, you know, which lights we could shut off and have it. I mean, we could manually shut them off with circuit breakers so we could test it. But the employees just throw one switch and they all come on, you know, so they're not playing with the electrical panel. But I'd, you know, definitely be willing to, you know, to do that.
Any other questions from the city councilors? Any other questions from the city councilors? Questions from the city councilors? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing and the entire public hearing, and this is in Urban Affairs. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 5.
Now is the time set for the public hearing on the application for a special permit from attorney Brian Falk on behalf of WP Marlborough Mass Owner LLC to build a multifamily residential project in the business district to be known as Volaris Marlborough, consisting of 188 units in 4 buildings at 339 Boston Post Road East. Order number 20-100-7995B.
Again, reminder, this public hearing will be conducted in 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public, public speaking in opposition, and questions from the city councilors. When we get to the part of the public speaking, if you're on a phone, it's *6 to unmute your phone. So with that, we'll start with public speaking in favor.
Thank you, President Ossing, councilors, and thank you for agreeing to hold this hearing remotely. For the record, Brian Falk from Myrick O'Connell, appearing on behalf of the applicant, WP Marlborough MA Owner LLC, which is a subsidiary of Waypoint Residential. Mr. Kerrigan, are you able to bring up the PowerPoint presentation? Oh, great. Thank you very much. With me presenting tonight are Tom Moran, Senior Development Manager with Waypoint, Dave Robinson from Allen & Major Engineering, and Dennis Hargis from Phillips Partnership Architects. Waypoint Residential is excited to bring the Walcott Heritage Farms multifamily project before the City Council. And that's our new name for this community, which combines Waypoint's highest end brand, Walcott, and the history of the site. We think this is a great opportunity to bring new housing options and affordable housing to the city's east side. We've been working with different city departments and boards for several months now, and we're glad to now be before the City Council. Could we just advance to slide 2, please? So to orient yourself, the site is the McGee Farm property along the south side of Boston Post Road East, which is a mixed-use area with residential and commercial properties nearby. The project uses the current business district zoning, where multifamily dwellings are allowed by special permit. We are not seeking any zoning amendments, no overlay districts or map amendments. The project's allowed under current zoning by special permit, just like some other residential communities along Route 20 in that section of the city. Next slide, please. So we're proposing 188 high-end apartment units in 4 buildings. Our unit breakdown is 128 one-bedroom apartments and 60 two-bedroom apartments. No units will have more than 2 bedrooms. We must provide 376 parking spaces, which far exceeds the parking required for some other recent multifamily projects in the city. Our developed area will be located in the property's existing building area along Route 20. Out of the site's 26 acres, over 70% will be preserved as open space and landscaped areas. The bulk of the green that you're seeing on this image will remain green. The existing horse riding ring will become a walking trail, and the interior of the ring left as open space. This is the bulk of the area that's the closest to our neighbors at the Joe Lem community and Helen Drive to the south, and that will remain as open space. You may recall that this project came before the council last year because the city had a right of first refusal to purchase the land for open space or municipal use. The city declined to acquire the property. But even with this project, again, 70% of the property will remain as open space. 15% of our units will be restricted as affordable. That's 29 out of 188. And this is unlike many of the other large multifamily projects the council has looked at over the last few years, which have not helped the city maintain its 10% affordable housing inventory for Chapter 40B purposes. By providing 15% affordable units, this project will help the city offset some of the units that are coming off the subsidized housing inventory over the next 2 years, which is 56 units. This will be one of the more regulated projects in Marlborough. In addition to this special permit, we require an order of conditions from the Conservation Commission, a floodplain special permit from the ZBA, and site plan approval from the Site Plan Committee. We've had several public hearings before the Conservation Commission and the ZBA, and we've been working informally with the Site Plan Committee. Next slide, please. To help the city review the project's impacts, we provided a traffic study and a fiscal impact analysis. Given the value of the improvements and the low impacts on municipal services, we estimate that the project will generate over $570,000 a year in net revenue. That's above the cost of city services. Next slide, please. The low cost of municipal services to the project is due to the very low number of school-aged children we expect will live in this community. Because 68% of the project will be one-bedroom units and the remaining 32% two-bedroom units, our fiscal impact report estimates that just 15 school-aged children will live at the site at any given time. And this compares favorably with other multifamily projects that have been approved in the city recently, which have not had many school impacts. Next slide, please. As required by the City Council's multifamily development review criteria and design guidelines, we completed a self-evaluation. Our project score of 145 was positive and within the city's acceptable range. We will review the details of our score with the Urban Affairs Committee following the public hearing. With that, I'd like to turn things over to Tom Moran from Waypoint to talk about the company and its vision for the site. That's Tom Moran, if he's showing up on the screen.
Yep, Tom Moran is muted.
Thank you, Brian. If we could go to the next slide, please. So my name is Tom Moran with Waypoint Real Estate Investments, and just starting with a brief summary of who we are as a company. This slide details who we are. We acquire, build, and operate rental housing properties. Our bread and butter is conventional multifamily, but we also have expertise in student housing and senior housing. Next slide, please. So here you'll find some high-level metrics that further describe the company. I think the key takeaway here is that we have deep and extensive expertise building and operating multifamily communities. We have 4 offices nationally. I work out of the Stamford, Connecticut office and spend a significant portion of my time focused in Massachusetts. Next slide, please. So on to the project. So this is a project we're really excited about, and what we found most appealing about Marlborough is that it's a city that has a rich history, but is also willing to embrace smart growth. And that was an interesting combination of things that we found appealing and wanted to create a project that embodied that same theme. That's what prompted us to change the name of the project to Walcott Heritage Farms, which again honors the site's historical use, but also provides a new use, which is updated and upgraded housing on the east side of the city. This slide here outlines some of the key merits of the project, but I'd like to start with the image that you're looking at. So this is an image taken from building 400, which overlooks the southern portion of the site. And here you'll see our outdoor amenities. You see our pool. We have grilling stations. There's an outdoor seating area. You'll see the trellis to the right, which acts as a social and gathering space. Just beyond that, we have an outdoor game area with a bocce court and other game setups. And then beyond that, you'll see what we believe is one of the key amenities this site has to offer, and that's the vast amount of green space that Brian mentioned earlier. So as has been previously mentioned, we're going to preserve 70% of the site as green space. And we can do this through a number of mechanisms, including a restrictive covenant. But the intent is to ensure that that green space stays in its current form. We've even talked with conservation about implementing things like a meadow management plan, which would preserve the habitat as is and make sure all the existing wildlife can stay in place. Further going down the list here, this site falls in what's called a designated opportunity zone, and that was part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, which means this location was identified by the state as a site in need of economic development. The project we're proposing is also compliant with the Marlborough Economic Development Master Plan in terms of providing higher density housing in the commercial corridor. The open space we touched on already, and 15% of our units will be affordable. And the important part here is that we are building the housing. We are not buying our way out of the obligation. We understand the importance of having housing, and in total for this project, that'll equate to 29 units. We're also going to implement some sustainable features. We're going to have electric car charging stations, high efficiency mechanical equipment, Energy Star appliances. This is going to be a 100% electric project, and we're going to be pursuing a National Green Building Standard green certification. Can we go to the next slide, please? So our architect is later going to get into some details about the building design, but I did want to give the council an idea of the feel we're going for inside of the building. So this is our club room, and in our common areas, we try to provide a space that's warm and inviting. And in doing so, it's a place that people want to spend time, people can get to know their neighbors, and really fosters a sense of community. Just some design elements here. You'll see the floor-to-ceiling windows. This overlooks the southern portion of the site where we have our green space. And the idea is to make sure that the residents can appreciate the natural setting. And even in the artwork, if it's a little difficult to see here, but if you look at the artwork near the ceiling on the soffit there are these antique paintings of various species of birds. And again, that's an attempt to bring the outdoors inside and really make that theme continuous throughout the project. Next slide, please. Here's another panned out view of that same club room. Shows a little bit more of the kitchen. Next slide, please. And here's our game room, which is adjacent to the club room. Again, just some minor details. If you see that the equestrian statue on top of the fireplace mantle, again, that's a nod to the site's historical use. And what's pretty cool is that the wallpaper shown here is the actual wallpaper we intend on installing in the building. And it's a forested tree line, and again, trying to make that theme of nature continuous throughout the project. Next slide, please. Here's a shot of our fitness center. If we go back to the fitness center. Go down, yeah. So off to the left here, we have a cycle / stretching / yoga room. And then one more slide, please. And here's a view of our main room, which shows some of the cardio equipment we'll have. We'll also have strength equipment and more functional training equipment. So in closing my portion of the presentation, I just want to say that we view our relationship with the communities in which we build as a partnership. This project is going to be a long-term investment for us. And with that, we look forward to the opportunity to have a long-term partnership with the City of Marlborough. So thank you, and with that, I'll turn it over to Dave Robinson with Allen & Major.
Thank you, Tom, and good evening, councilors. Could we please advance to the next slide? Thank you. For the record, my name is David Robinson. I'm the project site designer with Allen & Major Associates at 100 Commerce Way in Woburn, Massachusetts. This evening, I'll be presenting a brief overview of the project as well as some info on the site layout and engineering. The total project area includes 3 parcels, including a parcel at the southeast corner of the site, as shown on the screen, and outlined in black, which is to remain undeveloped. These 3 parcels total approximately 25.7 acres, and of that acreage, just under 7 acres is proposed to contribute to the total site disturbance, which means that, as Tom mentioned, a significant portion of the site is proposed to remain as open space. In terms of site layout, we've gone through multiple iterations of the site layout during the permitting process, and we've refined it to reduce the disturbance to the existing resource areas on site to the maximum extent practicable. There's 3 total curb cuts proposed along Route 20, 2 for the main development area and 1 for the remote parking lot, as you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen. The westerlymost curb cut is proposed to be an exit only with separate lanes for left or right-hand turns. The easterly curb cut near the center of the main site is proposed as an entrance and exit curb cut with 2 total lanes, 1 in, 1 out, and there is a remote parking lot, as I mentioned, to the right of the site with 22 spaces proposed, a sidewalk connection to the main site, as well as an entrance and exit lanes providing access to Route 20. 376 total parking stalls are proposed, and that parking ratio will provide exactly a 2.0 ratio of stalls per unit. There's also 6 covered parking garages, proposing a total of 42 covered parking spaces. It should also be noted we're in the process of coordinating the project with the Mass DOT with regards to their planned improvements to this corridor of Route 20. And we have a meeting with the DOT later this week to discuss our integration of this project into their proposed improvements. As far as traffic concerns go, we've performed a traffic analysis and we've submitted that report to both the City of Marlborough and the Mass DOT. As Tom mentioned, there's an amenities area located at the rear of the site with the pool, associated maintenance building, barbecue grilling area with outdoor kitchen and fire pit, lawn games area, and a looped natural walking path, which will utilize the footprint of an existing path on site, as well as a dog park located at the rear of the site. Again, it should be noted that development is concentrated in the previously developed area in the northwest corner of the site. And the project will also be served by public water for both domestic and fire uses and public sewer as well. And there will be private electric and gas services to the site. Stormwater is proposed to be handled by a closed pipe and structure system with structural water quality units to improve the water quality before leaving the site. The water quality units will discharge to 5 distinct subsurface infiltration systems, including one in the remote outparcel parking lot. These will each be equipped with outlet control structures to manage the flows leaving the site, and these systems will provide on-site retention for large storm events, as well as the recharge of stormwater runoff to groundwater. The drainage has been designed entirely in accordance with state and local standards. Finally, the project proposes additional compensatory flood storage areas on site, which have previously been vetted with conservation as well as the ZBA. The purpose of the compensatory flood storage on site is to reduce the risk of downstream flooding impacts on nearby properties. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Dennis Hargis with Phillips Architecture to discuss the buildings and architecture. Dennis?
Thank you, Dave, and good evening, councilors. My name is Dennis Hargis. I'm with Phillips Partnership Architects. at 5901 Peachtree Dunwoody Road, Atlanta, Georgia. So if you go to the next slide, please. The top floor plan on this slide is our typical floor plan. As you can see, there are 12 units per level for each of the 4 buildings. We wanted to keep the buildings as compact as we could so that it's not just one large building that's overpowering the entire site. We wanted to keep them limited in size, like I said, so that they don't overpower the site. The lower plan is our amenity building floor plan. So on the left side of this plan is our leasing office, which faces towards Boston Post Road, so that as residents and potential residents enter the site, they can see where they need to go for the leasing office. And it also has a cyber cafe where residents can go and use computers, get work done with Wi-Fi. As we know, in today's day and age, having somewhere to work from home is a huge benefit, and many people are doing that. To the right side of the plan is the area that you saw some renderings of while Tom was speaking earlier, the club room and the game room and the fitness area. These spaces are looking towards the southern portion of the site, overlooking the pool and the preserved green space to the south. If you go to the next slide, please. This is a rendering of our amenity building, Building 400. So this is looking from the north side of the building. You can see the leasing office on the first floor here. As Tom mentioned, we really want to pay homage to the history of the site and as an equestrian facility. So we kind of took that classical farmhouse idea, but wanted to then modernize it and bring in updated elements. So we kept a stone base along the entire bottom of the building with just a rusticated stone, again, to just reference back to that farmhouse. And we included a metal overhang on the 2 ends of the building, just again to reference that farmhouse with a wraparound porch that encompasses the front of the building. So we've got that at the leasing office as well as the amenity spaces. And then above the stone, it was really about bringing in varied materials and colors. So we have lap siding as well as board and batten to try and break up the massing and give it that appeal of that classical farmhouse. If you go to the next slide, please. So this is a view looking from Boston Post Road, looking towards the east. These 2 buildings, as we were developing the site plan, we wanted to address the street. We didn't want our buildings to turn their backs or ignore the street. So these 2 buildings are lining the street. And again, as you can see, we have that rusticated stone base around the bottom of the buildings. And then as well as these 2 buildings, the color varies a little bit from the other buildings on the site. We didn't want them all to be the same. It's not just the same building repeated across the site. So there is some variation between the buildings. With that, I will turn it back over to Brian Falk.
Thanks, Dennis. Just in summary, we believe this project will be a good addition to Marlborough, preserving the bulk of the property as open space, bringing significant tax revenues and additional affordable housing units to the city. We look forward to addressing questions from the public and councilors and working with the council on the review of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. That concludes your presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Are there any other members of the public speaking in favor of the project? Any members of the public speaking in favor? I'll ask the city clerk to read.
Councilor, we did receive one communication from an Alexander Williamson of 63 Commonwealth Avenue who wished to be recorded in favor of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Are there any other members of the public speaking in favor? Members of the public speaking in favor? Members of the public speaking in favor? Hearing none, I'll close that part of the public hearing. And it's now questions from the public. And a reminder, if you're on the phone, it's *6 to unmute, and we'll try to get you all in. So it's open for questions from the public. Any questions from the public?
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Hi, it's Cindy Zomar. I do want to reserve time to speak in opposition to the project, but I do have a question, and I think that's the ask that, right?
It's Cindy, hang on 1 minute. Hang on, Cindy. So, again, I want to remind folks, if you're watching it on TV, you got to listen on the phone and turn down the TV, because we'll get feedback here in the council. So that's just a reminder. So I'm sorry, Cindy. Go ahead.
That's okay. I don't have a TV on, so I don't think it's mine. But my question, I did have a question. They mentioned they did a traffic analysis. Dave Robinson mentioned that. And I wonder, when was that done? Like, was it before or after COVID-19 hit? Because obviously there's a huge traffic difference now as opposed to a year ago. Can he answer that? No.
Yep. Our traffic consultant with Vanessa is on. I think that they can best answer that.
Yes, good evening, Giles Ham with Vanessa and Associates. So we had conducted counts in June 2019 during the weekday morning and evening peak hours, and that represents an above average condition in the area.
Okay. Was that before or after school was closed for the year? Do you recall?
I'd have to get the exact date.
Because June can go either way.
Yeah, I'd have to check that.
Okay, just wondering, because yeah, okay. All right, that was my question, and then I'll come back later. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Cindy. Are there any other questions from the public? Any other questions from the public?
Yes,
Council
please.
President, this is Dan Caruso from Violetwood Circle.
Hello, Mr. Caruso.
Yeah, I have a question about the need for the housing. They did use that as a rationale for one of the reasons why this project was there. I was wondering if they could speak more to that, where they saw that need coming from, how they determined that, and especially how they arrived at that determination in terms of the types of housing they're offering, and the number of housing they're offering, and also if the number of housing they're offering has more to do with that need and more to do with the financial viability of the project.
Mr. President, this is Brian Falk. I can address this, and they turn to Tom Moran to speak a little bit about the makeup of the housing we're proposing. I don't think it's a mystery that the governor for several years and numerous reports from Beacon Hill have been letting us know that housing is needed in this Commonwealth, in particular affordable housing and workforce housing. And I know that's been a priority of the city of Marlborough for many years, is to bring in workforce housing to serve the many employers that the city has, that is often bringing folks in from Somerville and Cambridge doing a reverse commute, providing opportunities for them to live here in the city as well as work here in the city.
Yeah, and I'd also add that it's a function of smart planning in terms of providing mixed housing within a development. And if the question also referred to like the unit breakdown that we have at the project, we typically perform market studies when we're looking at a project, and the outcome of those market studies tells us where the demand for the housing is.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Caruso?
Although I'm still not sure I understand if there was anything specific to Marlborough that, other than the governor's statement and general things that were said by development people, anything specific they did to determine that the east side of this city needed this housing. That's what my concern was, my specific question.
Yeah, there's language outlined in the Marlborough Economic Growth Plan. And then even within the multifamily design guidelines, it identifies certain locations within the city and the proposed, or I guess recommended developments for each location within the city.
Okay, that does answer my question. Thank you, Councilor Ossing.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions from the public?
Council President Ossing, this is Catherine Hennessy.
Good evening, Ms. Hennessy.
Thank you. I live at 199 Stearns Road, and I do have a question if I may understand the price point for a 1-bedroom and the price point towards rental of a 2-bedroom, I'd appreciate that information.
Yeah, so 1-bedrooms will start around $1,900 per month, and 2-bedrooms will start between $2,400 and $2,500 per month, and that is within the existing rates you see in Marlborough today.
Okay. And second, you had in your presentation that there was some form of a study you referenced where you said that you believe that there would only be approximately 15 potential school-aged children. Can I understand where you're providing that information from?
Yeah, we hired a person to provide a fiscal impact study, and they look at data both nationally, regionally, and locally to show what previous developments, what I guess school impacts previous developments have had, and then can draw the conclusions based on the existing data. So, like they found here, we have a high number of 1-bedrooms, and, typically with 1-bedrooms, you don't see any school-aged children. So that's one reason that this particular project, we have a very low number of school-aged children forecasted.
Do you happen to have the information of which projects that they were looking at? I'd really appreciate that insight, because we do have a number of obviously different residences, apartment complexes, and some actually do have a large amount of families with school-aged children that are within 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom situations. So I'd love to know which they were referencing.
Yeah, there's a number of studies referenced in the study that's been submitted to the city. Brian, is there a way that we typically handle this?
Yeah, it's been submitted to the city. It's a public record, and Catherine, I can provide you a direct copy if you need it.
Thank you. I would really appreciate that.
Yep.
Are there any other questions from the public? Questions from the public? And again, it's *6 to unmute the phone. Questions from the public? Hearing no questions from the public, I'll close that part of the public hearing. We'll now open the public speaking in opposition. Do you want to read those items now, or do you want to? So I'm going to have the clerk read. We've got numerous correspondence, so we'll read the list of individuals that have sent correspondence in to the city clerk's office.
We have received correspondence in opposition from the following individuals: Tom and Sheila Brecken of 116 Stevens Street, James Brown of the Jolin Residents Association at 15 Colton Lane, Amanda Curtis at 224 Phelps Street, Michael Davis at 162 Ewald Avenue, Diane Ellis at 34 Shelley Lane, Gina Ferreira at 273 West Main Street, Joanne Giancola at 67 East Dudley Street, Catherine Hennessy, 199 Stearns Road, Susan McMaster at 164 South Street, Mark Maxander at 66 Ashley Lane, Ralph Morrow at 417 Farm Road, Diane McNally of 70 Linda Circle, Pat McShera of Berkeley Street, Stephen Peck of 64 Victoria Lane, Marilyn Perry of 321 Sudbury Street, Elizabeth Wren of 13 Val's Lane, Sharon Riddle of 86 Prendeville Way, Victoria Rule of 41 Dean Road, John Vieira of 36 Holly Hill Lane, Jane Williams of 21 Benjamin Road, Richard Yerkes of 12 Helen Drive, Cindy Zomar of 40 Dean Road, and Katie Zolnick of 689 Hemingway Street.
Again, these are the correspondence that we've got received in opposition to the project. At this point, I'll open it up to the public. So public speaking in opposition.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Name and address, please.
Monica Del Vecchio at 302 Boston Post Road East.
Thank you, Monica. Go ahead.
I live across the street from that property, and it's already hard enough for us to get in and out of the parking lot here. How is that going to affect us when we have more people trying to get in and out? Even if it's a right turn, left turn only exit, from what I just saw, it's going to make it almost impossible unless you guys are planning on putting lights on. So and seeing how the traffic flow is already so high, it's a massive impact.
Okay, thank you, I'm sure that will be discussed, Monica, when it goes to Urban Affairs.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Again, public speaking in opposition. Members of the public speaking.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Hi, Cindy Zomar again, Mr. President. Thank you.
Go ahead, Cindy.
I would like to speak in opposition once again to this project. I have no vested interest, as I've said in my numerous emails to every city councilor and every chair of every committee and commission in the city, I believe. It's just a matter of the wrong project at the wrong place. It sounds lovely. I wish I had seen the slides. I'm on the phone, so I don't have it on my TV. But it sounds like a lot of planning went into it, and it's a beautiful complex. It's just too big for that area. As the Monica Del Vecchio just mentioned, the traffic coming in and out of there is going to be just horrendous. And I understand they've done their traffic study. We now know it was in June. I'm sorry, did you say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Oh, and I'm at 40 Dean Road. I think I forgot to say that. I'm sorry. I get excited about what I'm going to talk about. But anyway, I think the traffic is an issue. I don't like the idea of, I hear what they say about leaving 70% of the property to be green space. Unfortunately, as we all know, when contractors go into a property, they level things. They clear cut trees. They're going to fill in wetland areas and replicate them in other areas when they're done, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But then I'm not a gardener. Maybe that can happen. But it's not going to be the way it is now, and it's not going to be green for a long time again once they do something like that. There will probably be far more children than they're anticipating, because that's the way life is right now. As I said, the traffic is going to be horrendous. The infrastructure is all going to be affected. And I have spoken to the police chief, as well as I've talked personally to 6 counselors, and I have gotten emails back from my letters from several others. And everyone I have talked to, every single commission, counselor, chief, have had reservations on this project, have said that it's not what they'd like to see there, and have said that they share my concerns. So it makes me wonder how we can have gotten this far to the point where we've put these people through hoops and they've gone through them, but yet in reality this is not the right project for this area. Smaller projects perhaps, smaller density, and perhaps condos or homes, so that people will not be transient. They'll become part of the fabric of our community, and they'll become vested in Marlborough. If you have all these single one-bedroom apartments, those are going to be for people who are here for 6 months because they got an assignment with Boston Scientific, and then they're going back to California or wherever it is. So it's not going to help our community. And I think what we all need to remember is the whole purpose here is to look at how things affect our entire community. And that's the job of the council. And it's tough because you have to talk to all these people bringing projects in, and you have to know which ones are better and which ones are not. One counselor I spoke to said, sometimes it's the devil you know as opposed to the one you don't. But in my opinion, if that's the saying that comes to mind and all you can think of is the devil, maybe it's time to walk away and wait for the next proposal, like something with single-family homes or condos and only 2 stories perhaps, and not take as much space. So I urge the council to think long and hard on this, and remember that you don't have to say yes. In order to say yes, you have to bend rules and act and give special permits and such. It's okay to just say no and control the growth that comes into our city the way we want to leave it as a legacy for our grandchildren. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Cindy. Are there any other members of the public speaking in opposition?
Hi.
Yes.
This is Mary Bovacanti at 66 Carm Road.
I would like to speak in opposition.
All right, hang on. Mary, you have the floor. Yeah, could you say your name again, Mary? I apologize. Mary?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, a little closer to the phone or a little louder, Mary.
Hi, is this better?
Perfect.
All right. So I'm only in college and I've been living in Marlborough my whole life. And I used to ride horses at this facility. I've been associated with the place for the past 15 years. And one thing that bothers me the most is that we just don't need this. We have enough people in our town, and like many people have said, the residential, like adding all that traffic, Route 20 is already so busy. Out of that property, you can't even take a left-hand turn during rush hour. It's so dangerous. There's been many times where I've had to take a right-hand turn and go all the way around by Trombetta's to go back home instead of taking a left. And with the whole family situation, it being a one-bedroom, there's many of my friends when I was in high school and middle school that lived at like Brook Village, for instance, where they had grandparents, their parents, and 3 other brothers and sisters living in a 2-bedroom. I don't believe that only 15 kids are going to be brought in by this place. And the whole environmental aspect, doing this is going to change the property drastically. They'll need to level it and bring the whole place up to the road, which would completely fill in one of the ponds that are there. And even with the huge environmental protections that the state has, I personally feel that it's just going to demolish the current huge ecosystem that they have. And there's everything from salamanders to coyotes, fisher cats, deer that live on this property. And building is just going to push those animals into the surrounding neighborhoods. Even with 70% of it staying green, there's a reason that those animals live there. There's a reason that there's coyotes there. And that reason is because there's no one there. There's no one there at night when they're active. And they have many rabbits and squirrels and everything to eat. They have it all there. And so when they add these buildings, even though 70% of it is still going to stay green, they're going to find someplace else to go, and they're going to go into the neighborhoods and into the mobile home place that's right there. And even though I never got the chance to go find the blue-spotted salamander, I am a strong believer that they're there. And if this motion if it gets accepted, I'm going to go find them. And those are extremely endangered. And as soon as one is spotted, you can't build. And it's just, yeah. I also started a petition for councilmen to vote no, and it has over 1,000 signatures on it. And this place, the builders were talking about keeping it historical in a pretty stone and a farmhouse with a wraparound porch. If you know the history of this farm, it was a standardbred breeding farm, and they used to train trotters. That's why there's that huge trot track. And there was no pretty stonework with a wraparound porch. There was a vet clinic that had small and large animal vet clinic that had, I don't know, like 2 bedrooms on the top of it. It's not a pretty farmhouse. There's no pretty historical part of this farm other than the green space, other than the landscape. The landscape is beautiful. And there's just no reason to add these housing and all this stuff there. Just say no. I don't see it being affordable either with all of the adding and the pool and the courts. There's no way that that's affordable. $1,000 or whatever they said for a 1-bedroom, that's not affordable. I live at school in a 1-bedroom apartment that is $700 a month. That's affordable. So I just don't see the point of doing this and approving it.
Thank you, Mary.
Wait, I want to add one more thing.
Sure, Mary.
I feel that this is a dream that needs to be brought somewhere else. This isn't the place for this dream. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mary. There was a gentleman that wanted to speak. Are there any other members of the public?
My name is.
President Ossing? Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
My name is Arthur Skura, and I live at 54 Village Drive at the Village Apartments, Villages of Marlborough East. And I've spoken to many of my neighbors, and I go in and out of the driveway where I live, and at portions of the day it's nearly impossible to get out of that driveway. The traffic is horrendous, and you have to wait a long, long time to take a right or a left. And with all of these structures coming in, it's going to be much worse. And secondly, I'm a great believer in the environment and saving our wetlands. And this kind of a project can only be harmful to the environment. As someone just said, it will hurt the animals that live there. It will upset the ecology. I'm very much against it. I think it's massive, and it's something we don't need, and it's going to be harmful to the residents who already live here. Thank you. I live at 54 Village Drive, which is very close to what you're proposing to build.
Thank you, Arthur. Are there any other members of the public speaking in opposition?
Yes, Mr.
Councillor
President.
Ossing?
Yes.
This is Catherine Hennessy. I live at 199 Stearns Road. As well, I'm a member of the school committee. And thank you very much for the presentation tonight. As Cindy Zomar had mentioned, it was a lovely presentation, and Walcott Heritage looks like a lovely place. But be it a lot of different reasoning, I feel like this is not a residential area that should be put here in Marlborough. My main concern really is around the number of children that might be living in this residences. I do understand that you have a study, which obviously I have not seen yet. I recognize it's a public record and I will look into it. But you mentioned 15 children. And when I asked relative to the price point for one bedroom, and I look back on some of the other one bedroom apartment complexes here in Marlborough, where we have many, many children coming out of those apartment complexes that are attending the public schools, that number is much higher than 15. So my concern really is around the services that we would need to support new residential area appropriately. Number one, obviously the public school system, and police and fire and all of our public resources. I recognize that you did bring up a price point for supporting some of those areas, but as many of us here in the community know, we've been looking towards having discussions about a fourth fire department station and needing to have more safety support. And I really don't think that right now is the time to be utilizing that property and putting in an apartment complex that is this large at that price point right now. I appreciate all of the presentation, and it is thoughtful, but many of the considerations that have been brought forward, whether it be the ecology aspect, the traffic concerns, and as well the concerns that would put strain potentially on the public resources for our community right now, I really do not think that this is the project that we need to have here in Marlborough. So I would just hope that our counselors can really be thinking about long-term, and long-term, I don't think we need to be bringing any more people into the community with new residences at this point. And thank you for your consideration, but I would really respect your consideration on voting no against this at this point. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. Are there any other members of the public speaking in opposition?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
Yes, James O'Malley, Lodi Road. I'm just kind of like to thank the council for taking my question here. So obviously being a resident of Marlborough well over 35 years now, kind of just going to piggyback off what everybody already said. You know, adding more residents to the city of Marlborough right now just doesn't make any sense, especially one of my biggest concerns is obviously COVID. We don't know when this is going to end, how long it's going to be. We don't even know if school's going to start on time. You know, bringing more kids possibly into the school district, bringing another 300-400 people into the city of Marlborough. And there's just, like you said, we have no idea when this virus will end. And I just don't see how building this project and adding more residents to the city is a good idea right now. And another concern, just we see it all over the state, layoffs, whether it be teachers or other public officials. I'm not know how Marlborough is financially, but of course still concerned, what is this going to be like a year from now? How's the economics going to be? Are we going to have the money to support all this stuff? These are just concerns, you know, I have right now. And this project just doesn't make any sense right now with all that's going on in this world and this country. And like I said, we just saw again that Massachusetts had the highest, I think, unemployment in the whole country. So we just don't know. And like I said, I just think right now, this is a bad idea. I have 2 kids in the public school system, grade school. I'll have a third coming through the system eventually. And I just don't feel comfortable right now with everything that's going on. And I just wouldn't feel comfortable with a project like this being built right now. Like one person said earlier, it's just not the right time. So I really hope all the council takes that into consideration because, you know, it's a lot of stress on all of us right now what we're going through. And this is just one more thing we don't need right now. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, James. Are there any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Again, it's *6.
Hello, I'm,
yes,
can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Name and address.
For your rule, I live at 40 Dean Road in Marlborough. I've been a resident of Marlborough for 37 years, and I moved to Marlborough for the country feel, and I know the McGee farm very well. I've had horses there for over almost 17 years, in and out. Duck McGee was my dog's vet, and I knew the family quite well, and I know the property quite well. And I know that seasonally, that front field floods like nobody's business. I'm sure people have driven by there at certain times of the spring, and it's just been a lake with ducks and geese that hang out there. In the front field also is a known wetland, which they are asking for a special permit to fill in. And 2 years ago, when asking Ed Clancy of the Conservation Commission, is that feasible to fill in that front land? And he said, no, that's against the law. Those wetlands are protected. But now, a huge corporation comes in, and it almost feels like they're buying Marlborough. For a price, they can fill in the wetlands and move the floodplains and make it so that they can put their 188 units right up at the front. The front fields are probably 6 feet lower than Route 20. And to fill all that area, all the vegetation, all those mature trees will be taken off. And the parking lot that they want to put 22 extra cars down by the billboard and the start of the aqueduct, there is no shoulder on Route 20. And the side goes down about 20 feet from Route 20. And it's all wet in there in the spring. So they're going to fill all of that and put a sidewalk on Route 20. And it's just for safety's sake, it is very hard to get in and out of those driveways. Leaving the Shell station, leaving the restaurant La Tapatia, you know, it's congested beyond belief. And I think that they said that it was going to be 14 months to complete this project. So for 14 months, the residents of Marlborough and possibly Sudbury, who use that stretch of Route 20, will be at such a disadvantage. They will be seeking alternate routes, which will make Farm Road more congested, Hemingway Street more congested, Phelps Street more congested. Everybody is going to be trying to maneuver around that one section of Route 20. And during the morning, you get stuck behind a school bus. It's 8 minutes. It will take you literally 45 minutes to get from Fireflies to Walgreens. And I just think that at this time, that proposed project is too big for the land that's available. And I thank them for the presentation tonight that they're going to keep 70% of the original property green, but that doesn't help the residents of Marlborough. It might help the residents or the transient people who rent apartments for 6 months to a year. And also, the price of a one-bedroom at $1,900, the price of a two-bedroom at $2,400 to $2,500, with only 29 units being affordable. What would the affordable units be like? I'm sure it's going to be a lot less than the $1,900 and the $2,400. But do we really need that many people congesting that small area of Marlborough at this time? Because you know that in a year, there will be so many complaints that I can't get out of my parking lot in the morning. It takes too long. Marlborough's going to have to do something for me. When all you can say right now is this is not the right project for the area, and all the city councils should vote for their heart and the future of Marlborough. This will change the look of Marlborough for now until forever. Once it's done, it's done. And it will be one large apex center from Northborough to Sudbury. And I don't think this is the right project for Marlborough right now. I think you can take your time, and another project will come along with maybe single-family homes in a horseshoe circle that fits the land, or condos that people will come and settle in Marlborough and stay in Marlborough and make a difference in Marlborough. I hope everybody votes no. This is not the right project for Marlborough at this time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Victoria. Any other members of the public speaking in opposition?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Julie Zomar. You guys heard from my mother earlier, but I actually I bought a house 2 years ago down the street because I live at 112 Simpson Road. And so a couple years ago, I've been here for 30 plus years, and left for a little while after college and decided to come back. And this is where I want to have a family, and bought a house, down the street near my parents. Love this area, love this town. It's a beautiful area. And at this point, looking at, everyone's pretty much said everything I would want to say. I spoke also at the Conservation Commission meeting, but I just want to reiterate several things, just so you have other people voicing their concerns, and of folks of different ages as well. So I believe that this will negatively impact traffic. This will negatively impact our schools. This will negatively impact the wetlands, and it will negatively impact our home values. Not to mention the fact that we are going to be driving more people out of Marlborough. My mom years and years and years ago was a real estate agent, and she served out of an office in Sudbury. And I remember that when she first started, she would tell people, I'd like, let me show you some houses in Marlborough. And sometimes, you'd hear the complaint, I don't know. You're going to hear, no, I don't want to come to Marlborough from this point forward if you put in, 4 huge monstrosity buildings in this area that not only, it's already, that side of town is already an area that I know I personally try to avoid for traffic reasons, for, just sheer beauty. It's just not a pretty side of town. And although this complex does look pretty, again, it's 4 stories high. It's going to be just as tall and just as big of a monstrosity as the Cube Smart Storage building. Don't know how that got put in. We need areas that are green. We need areas that people want to go to, parks, and places like that. We also, I agreed with some of the comments earlier about the concern about COVID. There are lots of people out of jobs. There are lots of concerns. And on top of that, Marlborough has had a huge spike in COVID. So we're looking at, we have no idea when this is going to end. And bringing more people into a city that already, the hospital is taxed at times. There's, no way that the fire and emergency services would be able to keep up unless they're given stipends and additional people would be hired. Because we all know that apartment complexes, I've lived in them in the past, they always have more calls to them than a normal housing residence, than a normal house. So, I would just like to end by saying, I'm proud of Marlborough, but I am definitely not proud of this project, and I hope that the entire City Council votes no on this.
Thank you, Julie. Any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition?
Hello, Mr. President. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
Name and ad.
I'm from. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Name and address, please.
My name is Francis McGee. I'm named after the late Dr. Francis McGee. I live out of town, and I wanted to put my 2 cents in for this project. I'm adamantly against this project. My grandfather would be rolling in his grave if he saw what this is becoming. I'm calling on everybody in Marlborough to pull together and be against this project. I'm calling on my family member, my aunt, to donate this land to the city. This has nothing to do with what's Marlborough. What's good for Marlborough is for this land to be open space. There are thousands of kids and families in that part of Marlborough that don't have access to open space. That land should be made available and expanded like Galone Park. That development, as beautiful as it is wrong for that location. That entire site should be set aside for the future residents of the city of Marlborough. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Frank. Are there any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? And again, it's *6 to unmute yourself. Any other members of the public speaking in opposition?
Someone is speaking.
Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors?
Somebody was speaking.
I'm sorry? Council Perlman?
Yeah, there was someone trying to speak, but it was very faint when you were having another opportunity for the public.
Okay. Is there someone else that wanted to speak in opposition?
Yes, I would like to speak in opposition.
Could you speak closer to your phone or a little louder with a name and an address, please?
Yes, my name is Carmen Gentile. I live on Surrey Lane in Sudbury. I represent the people of Marlborough, of this area, and the legislature in the 13th Middlesex District. And I will tell you that I have listened to many, many, many constituents tonight. I've listened to constituents' concerns before tonight. I served on the planning board in Sudbury for 9 years. And I will tell you that I think that this development is one that you should vote against. I believe that that it's not a good use of the property, that the development, if housing is going to go up there, it needs to be substantially different than what's been put before you, for the reasons that have been articulated by speakers before me. And I would urge you to vote against it, listening to the people.
Thank you, Representative Gentile. Are there any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Any other members of the public speaking in opposition? Any members of the public speaking in opposition? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing. Questions from the city councilors?
Mr. President, Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram.
Thank you. Questions would be most likely addressed in urban affairs, so I don't expect the applicant to answer tonight. But it was brought up by many, and I'm very concerned about Route 20, not just exiting, but what does that traffic do if they wanted to go the other way? Where are they going to go to seek relief to turn their cars around and go the opposite way that they're being directed? Has there been any, and again, this is a state issue too, so Route 20 has been a problem for many years, and as a counselor, I've always suggested there should have been a rotary, at least maybe one, if not two, on Route 20 in that area so cars can change direction. Unfortunately, there isn't, and unfortunately, this is a very large development that will have 188 plus cars that may need to change direction. So if that could be addressed in urban affairs. Second, the height issue. I'd like to hear more about the building's fire safety and especially escape safety if our fire department cannot reach the 4th level as has been expressed. Another one would be best management practices. Some of us may remember President Obama landing at the Marlborough airport. I believe it was 2009, because unfortunately we are not planning correctly for our storms, and we are receiving more and more 100-year storms in a row and tremendous flooding. And I would like to see the models that have been presented in stormwater management here exaggerated to that level that we had in 2009, and we're close to 500. I mean, more than 100-year storms twice in 1 year. So unfortunately, again, you're in a very low area, and I don't believe what you're planning to do will address severe flooding. A couple more, pre and post runoff. What's running off that property right now? Is more going to run off, or vice versa? Is less going to run off? And more likely, it's probably more is going to run off, but I'd like to see the pre and post drainage calcs on that. And last, nothing major, but still, when you look at all these parking spaces, snow storage. And are you planning to remove snow? What type of contracts? I'd like to see all that in urban affairs being discussed. And those are my questions at the time. Obviously, I have my opinions as well, but those are my questions. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Oram. Any other questions from the councilors?
President Ossing, it's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Many other people have voiced some concern about this development. You know, I think that the traffic on Route 20 is a very significant issue, considering there's been many times been trying to get down Route 20 to get to council meetings about 5:30 in the afternoon, considering where I live. Now, if you look at this property, it's 188 units, which is bigger than the Village Drive and the Victoria Lane developments that also abut onto Route 20 in that general area. So you're adding that scale of new housing into that area, and I don't know how that traffic is going to be managed. I don't think that that's been adequately managed. The one saving grace I've heard is that you guys are working with the state on trying to address this. Good luck with that one, guys, because I don't know where it's going, but the way it is set up right now, I don't see, Route 20 during rush hour between Fireflies and Walgreens, Farm Road and Concord, is it Concord? Whatever. That place is a parking lot. And this would just amplify a bad situation. And that's my biggest concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Any other comments from the city councilors? Councilor Wagner.
Mr. President, this is Councilor Wagner. Thank you. I echo those. I'm also thinking about the public health concerns as we have more. I mean, that's certainly something to be thinking about now as we look at where COVID, the communities where it's hit the worst, it's where there's the worst air, highest cases of asthma and the most toxins in their environment. So as we keep pumping more traffic into that area, particularly the people who live there, and the traffic is left idling in the roadways, we have to think about, as a community, too, the health impacts there. And I'd like to just underscore, there's been tremendous feedback about this project and concern. The clerk read 22 letters that he received. I've collected, we're up to 105, and they were still coming in tonight, of people between phone calls and emails and letters, which I put in a shared file for all of you, and would like the opportunity, because a lot of those folks would have liked to have been here if it was a different world and we were in person. I think we would have had a jammed City Hall tonight. So to help make sure that their voices are included, I would like to be sure that we can read their names at least into the public record to note that there's been a lot of activity on this issue. And I do have one question, so I'm not sure, in the interest of time, there's 105, I can read them with the addresses, I did submit them to the clerk, but I want to make sure that does not get lost in the record. There's far more than 22 people who contacted us about this issue.
Yeah, no, the names that were read were ones that submitted written testimony to the council. If you've got a list of phone calls and names of 105 people, we will add that list of 105 people to the list of folks in opposition to the project, so that it's available for the public or anyone else to view, Councilor Wagner.
Okay, I mean, for the record, they were emails too that were also submitted to City Council, so not just solely to me. But so I would like to include those in the public record. And then I do have a question. We'll be able to go into this more, but I'd like a clarification. When the presentation was being made, at one point it was said that it's 100% electric, which was pretty exciting to me, because I'm thinking heat pumps and thinking about the future that's coming here. But then I saw the gas fireplaces, and there was a comment about how there's going to also be gas. So I would like to clarify that and talk about what the consideration is as the state slowly but surely moves towards accepting that we have a climate crisis and we need to get off fossil fuels. And there's a lot of work happening right now in the State House, moving this state, this Commonwealth is progressing towards 100% clean and renewable energy, which means all these buildings will need to be retrofitted at some point within the future. So I'd like to know how that's being taken into consideration, building by old standards, knowing that the standards are going to change in the future.
Yeah, so in terms of the fireplace, it's going to be an LED fireplace, so it won't be an actual fire there. And your second question was more on future upgrades to the project?
Well, if you could clarify, you said 100% electric, but then you did talk about gas. So are these buildings is the energy source going to be gas, or heat pumps, all electric?
All electric. Yeah, there's no gas. We're removing the gas. Yeah. Earlier iterations had gas service, but now we have no gas service to the project. And we're going to use high efficiency electric mechanical equipment. So Massachusetts has the energy code built into the building code. So what to do now is not only meet but exceed what the standards are.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Councilor Wagner. Any other comments or questions from the councilors?
Councilor Perlman?
Councilor Perlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to, appreciate everyone who came on to the remote meeting and was able to share their feedback. I know that it's challenging right now with COVID-19, and thank you to the applicant for the presentation. I do also share some concerns regarding the traffic, especially around Route 20. I know personally I've commuted very often during rush hour times moving eastward, and it has been very slow. And I'm also very concerned about the safety. I know recently, maybe it was like a year or so ago, someone died on Route 20 due to the traffic and was hit by a car. And I think that that's something that should be taken into account around how high peak areas of cars moving, the lack of really sidewalks or anything, and especially as the project is very close to the end of Route 20, the border, that is a concern for me personally. Also, the air pollution that was brought up, with all of those cars being present in that area over a significant period of time. We do have high rates of, asthma, overwhelmingly in young people. myself included, and I know that what was raised earlier on COVID-19 and public health issues, having very congested units like that. I know it was discussed in the plan how the buildings were meant to be compact and being able to have multiple of them with 12 units per floor, but I am concerned about the proximity of people so close together, especially as right now people have been very eager for more space, being able to go to parks and recreation, but also to have space in their housing as well. And the questions that I have are really around the safety to getting to the parking lot. That seemed very concerning to me. I didn't really notice how to get from the main section to the parking lot, as well as if there could be a price point stated for the record around the affordable housing units. I think that the council and the public would be interested in that as well. And then my other question, if you could answer, is around the intention to have residents within the community be moving into these areas, because the places were very nice, or is the intention to have people coming from external areas moving into Marlborough? And if that could be something, because I know some concerns around housing in the community have been around, the lack of transitionary housing of people who want to downsize, who maybe might have a single family home, but their kids are no longer there, and being able to have different levels of housing and places to go into the market, which this seems like very different. So I know that was a lot of questions, but I'm happy to repeat any of them, but I would appreciate some information.
Yeah. So in terms of the satellite parking lot, as part of the Mass DOT project, they were going to build a sidewalk along that stretch anyway. So it's really just a function of who starts the project first. If it's us, we'll build the sidewalk. If it's them, they'll build the project, but that's part of the coordination efforts with Mass DOT. Your second question again was
around the price of the affordable units.
Yeah, so pricing on affordable units is set each year by the governing agency. I think right now they're around $1,400 for a one bedroom and then $1,600 for a two bedroom. And that's usually set at 80% of AMI.
Okay. And then my other question was around, the intention to have new residents coming in as sort of the market population. I know you spoke around people who might be reverse commuting, or is the intention to also have people who currently live in Marlborough be able to move into those units?
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, especially with the affordables, you initially open up the lottery to residents in Marlborough. And the intent there is to make sure that, like teachers, sometimes members of the fire department, police department, who might be living in other towns can move into Marlborough and, in effect, shorten their commute. But yeah, there's a pretty strong downsize of an empty nester story in rental communities nowadays. My last project was in Boxborough, and we had a much higher number than anticipated. A number of residents who lived in Boxborough didn't want the hassle of owning a home, didn't want to deal with the maintenance, so they sold their house and moved into our community. So that was a pretty significant portion of our resident base. I should also note at that same project in Boxborough, we had a handful of employees from Raytheon. So, part of the thought with this project here is that in providing housing on the east side of the city, it would provide people with the opportunity to shorten their commute. And that project, it was a similar theme where we really tried to emphasize the outdoor space. So we provided a similar product a lot closer to where they work. That would alleviate some of the congestion and commuting concerns that people have brought up.
Okay, thank you. And I echo Councilor Wagner's statement around the use of electric. I think that's really incredible and something that other areas should be pursuing as well. And I guess like a final question around that probably could be addressed during urban affairs, so it's okay if it's not available at this time. But regarding the environmental impact, especially on the 70% of the property that's not being used, I would love to see some sort of strategy around how to maintain the wildlife and make sure that there is a habitat still available, because I am concerned that the animals living there would be moving into the neighborhoods. We've seen that when other projects have arisen before the council, and I know I'm a newer councilor, so this is a newer process for me, but I do imagine that if there were coyotes and all of the other animals that were mentioned, they would have to go somewhere. And so I'd be concerned not only of the residents in the new property, but those in the surrounding areas and their safety as well.
Yeah, and again, we're not going back into the southern portion of the site. So I really don't foresee any impact on the existing wildlife. And some of the things to, again, preserve the existing habitat is the meadow management plan that I mentioned earlier. And again, in that case, the plan is intended to keep the meadow area as a meadow, and that you don't eventually have maturing trees and that small ecosystem changes. You want to preserve the existing wildlife and keep that area in its current state. But yeah, we're not going to be building in the southern portion of the site and have no reason to go back there. And just as a function of smart building, you don't go where you don't need to go. So again, I really don't see those areas being impacted.
Okay, well, I really appreciate your answers to my questions, and definitely think that would be something that we'll be interested in hearing more about when it moves to urban affairs. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other councilors with questions? Any other?
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilor Landers.
I have a few comments. I'm going to save most of my comments and questions for Urban. I'm fortunately a member of Urban. I don't know where to start, but I don't want to take, long. I give these people a lot of credit. I remember talking to them a couple of years ago. Just give you a quick history there. I worked there in the early 60s. I know that farm as well as I know my lot right here. I worked there 5 or 6 years. My father worked there for 10 or 12 years. All the McGee kids, I taught them how to drive the tractor. I took a couple of them up for their license. Belthere, she was in first grade when I started working there in 1961. I always say that because I'd like something great to happen there. And I listen to some of these people, and they're right on. The wrong project in the wrong place. Traffic is humongous there. Now, I know traffic is worse now than it was 50 years ago, but I'm going to tell you what a nightmare it was trying to pull out of that site, and I know they're going to move the level up, trying to pull a truck with 2 horses in a van out to Route 20. It was almost impossible. I can go on and on and on. The water problem, I wore army boots in those days. Always had wet feet. I put up half the fences. Some of the fences I put up are still there. I was playing football when I was in Curry, and I ran that track starting August 1st, 5 miles a day. And, I had to be careful I didn't fall off the track or...
Excuse me, Councilor Landers. Can we focus on questions for the applicant, and we can save those?
Yeah, I will. I'm just giving a little background there. The comment I have, in some respects, it's a too valuable piece of land in Marlborough, where land is at a premium, that you're not using 70% of it. I'm not saying it'll ever be Colony Park Annex 2, but it's a shame in a way that we're taking 25 acres of land, we're taking the best 7 acres, building too many units, too congested. As I say, I give you guys credit, you're trying to make it work. And maybe, at Urban, you can convince me that you can make it work. I'm not sure. So, Mr. President, I'll save my direct questions when this gets into Urban, but I'm going to tell you, I guess there's a couple of them mentioned here. It's really not the right project for that parcel of land. That's it, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. Any other comments or questions from the city councilors?
Council President, Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
I was waiting to make sure no one else wanted to speak, so hopefully there aren't any. I just kind of wanted to wrap this up as the chairman of Urban Affairs. I had planned on waiting until the ZBA does their final ruling, and once we have everything in place, we can set up a meeting to begin our process. I do want to make sure that the public understands that we are required under Mass General Law and City Code to have this public hearing. We can't just turn down a project without going through a review process. And unfortunately, because of the land itself, there were a couple of other steps that needed to come into play, specifically with the replication area. So I know, Mr. Falk, I think that you kind of touched on it tonight, but I think in urban, if you really go into detail on exactly what that is, because I'm not sure if the statement that you are filling in wetlands is true. And I want the public to understand exactly why you had to go to conservation and why you had to go to the ZBA and why you had to file with the State Department of Environmental Protection. The rest of it, I think, I know as a city councilor, although I wasn't on when Talia was approved, that apartment complex was done as a kind of through the ZBA with a agreement that we needed housing and low income housing. But since I've been on, we've approved Avalon, Avalon 2, the Green District, and 2 projects in downtown Marlborough. Now, neither one of the projects downtown seemed to be starting. I was actually going to look back to see the history of when they were approved to know where we are in the time frame, but I'm sure that COVID may be part of it. I also understand that funding is an issue with that project. It's interesting, Mr. McGee's comments. My understanding is this project is in front of us because there is a purchase and sale from the owners. The city did decide to not purchase it. We had the opportunity. The mayor passed on that, so it's for sale. My guess is that the purchase and sale is pending approval of this project. If this project doesn't go through, I don't know if there'll be another kind of project that the current people with the purchase and sale will put in front of us. We have all heard all of the comments from the public. I think that the concerns are valid. The number of projects, the size of the project, the parking issues. So councilors, we have a lot of information to process. A tough decision have to be made at some point in the future. You all did receive the new site plan from Mr. Falk. In that site plan are answers to a lot of questions, specifically about wetlands and what they're doing in drainage. So those are there for you to look at. A lot of it is well beyond my scope, but that's what site plan's for. And I know that in talking to Mr. DePercio at engineering that they have looked at a lot of this, so has the Conservation Commission looked to make sure that all of the issues about drainage and stormwater and potential 100-year storms are taken care of. So with that, soon we will give you a date and be happy to have you attend an Urban Affairs meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Are there any other questions or comments from the city councilors? Questions or comments from the city councilors? Question or comments from the city councilors? Hearing none, I close that part of the public hearing, the entire public hearing. I want to thank the applicant and all the residents for a very civil and respectful public hearing. It is much appreciated from my position on the floor. With that, this is in Urban Affairs, and we will take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back at 10:10? 10. We'll be back at 10:10. City Council is back from recess. We will take up agenda item number 6.
Communication from the mayor regarding additional information regarding the naming of a field in honor of dispersing clerk second class Harold Cole, order number 20-100-8043.
If I could ask the clerk to read the letter, please.
Dear Honorable President Oski and councilors, I wanted to provide you with additional information on dispersing clerk second class Harold Cole, whom I have suggested as the veteran honored with the naming rights of to the baseball field previously known as Community Center Field, located behind the First Lieutenant Charles W. Whitcomb School. In recent discussions, it was noted that this honoree was not killed in action. However, dispersing clerk second class Harold Cole has honorably served in 2 of our nation's conflicts, the latter of which resulted in the loss of his life. Harold Clark Cole was born on December 10, 1920, here in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Harold Cole grew up on Mechanic Street and was proudly educated at Marlborough Public Schools. After his formal education, he worked as a cab driver for the city's cab company before enlisting for World War II. On April 11, 1944, he joined the United States Navy Reserve and was put directly into active military service during World War II. In World War II, Cole was assigned to LMSR Group 52. This group escorted and provided security for the landing crafts in Japan. During their service, LMSR Group 52 experienced great sacrifice due to enemy attack. Dispersing Clerk Second Class Cole was honorably discharged from the U.S. Navy on April 4, 1946, and returned home. Cole received several awards and citations for his actions during World War II. After his service, Cole was employed by Ethier Motors Company as a salesman, but according to his son, he sought more in life, so he re-enlisted during the Korean War. During his time in Korea, Cole served attached to the SS General A.E. Anderson, a ship that received a Silver Star for service in Korea. During Cole's time on that ship, he moved airborne units between California and Japan. After transporting the airborne division, the ship maintained the same route, supporting the North Atlantic Treaty Organization's mission. Cole was an active crew member of the Anderson at the time of his death. On May 18, 1951, Harold Cole was the only man from a 5-man crew to perish in a plane crash on their way home from serving our country. One of the engines in their B-52 lost power and unfortunately crashed. Harold Cole received numerous posthumous awards and citations for his service in Korea. Dispersing Clerk Second Class Cole left behind his wife Agnes, daughter Leonida, and son Harold Cole Jr. Cole's devotion led his family to a life of military service. Harold Cole Jr. went on to serve a long career in the United States Navy, followed by his 3 children. His eldest son has been in the U.S. Army for over 22 years. Middle son is in the Army Reserves, and his youngest daughter is currently serving in the United States Air Force. I hope you can consider dispersing Clerk Second Class Cole's devotion and life cut short by service in totality and bestow this honor upon upon this worthy veteran who gave his life for his country and community. Sincerely, Arthur G. Vigent, Mayor.
Mr. President, Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to thank the mayor for submitting this additional information and would like to make a motion to refer this to Veterans Affairs.
Motion made and seconded to refer to Veterans Affairs. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Landers. Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Roby. Councilor Roby. I'm sorry, Councilor, I believe you're muted. Unfortunately, we cannot hear you, Councilor. No, ma'am. Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Is she muted, or can you see it's muted? So Councilor Roby, you're just unable to unmute it then, I guess. Hang on, let me call you. We have the technology, I think.
Nope. Is she gone?
She left.
She's left the meeting. So I'm going to mark Councilor Roby as absent. So 10 in favor, 1 absent, sir.
So the motion to refer the agenda item to the Veterans Affairs is approved. 10 in favor, 1 absent. Agenda item 7.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $271,443, which moves funds from reserve for salaries to various accounts to fund the MMEA collective bargaining agreement for fiscal year 2021.
Mr. President,
Councilor Irish.
thank you. I want to thank the mayor and his staff, the MMEA union for getting this ratified for fiscal year 21. It was not in our earlier budget, abbreviated budget rather, and it is coming from reserve from salaries. My motion is to approve the transfer.
Motion made and seconded to approve the transfer to fund the MME contract for fiscal year 21 of $271,443. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
we can.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Thank you. 11 yea.
So the motion to approve the transfer to fund the MMEA contract for fiscal year 21 is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 8.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $49,352, which moves funds from reserve for salaries and Board of Health senior clerk to auditor and Board of Health principal clerk to fund the new salary of the auditor and the Board of Health principal clerk.
Mr. President,
Councilor Irish.
thank you, Mr. President. It is coming from reserve for salaries in the Board of Health senior clerk to go into the principal clerk. My motion is to approve the transfer.
Motion made and seconded to approve the two transfers for the auditor and the principal clerk in the Board of Health. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
And Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
11 yea, sir.
The motion to approve the transfer for the auditor and the principal clerk in the Board of Health is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 9.
Communication from the mayor regarding a transfer request in the amount of $39,300, which moves funds from reserve for salaries to sick leave buyback to fund the sick leave buyback for a retiree in the Department of Public Works.
Mr. President,
Councilor Irish.
thank you, Mr. President. This is an employee benefit for retirement. My motion would be to approve the transfer.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the $39,200 transfer for DPW retirement. Did I do 300? You're making me wear my glasses. $39,300. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
President Ossing, you have a question?
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. So if we say no, does that mean he comes back?
That is a great point. If it could only work that way. Thank you, Councilor Doucette.
Yeah.
Any other discussions from the councilors on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
You know, with Councilor Doucette's consideration, no, Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the $39,300 transfer is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 10.
Communication from the mayor regarding grant acceptance in the amount of $2 million from the Executive Office of Housing and Community Development, MassWorks Infrastructure Program for the Lincoln Street Revitalization Project.
Mr. President,
Councilor Irish.
thank you. Certainly very exciting for the city to be awarded this MassWorks grant. And certainly over the years working with Councilor Tenera in Ward 5, I certainly believe this will have a positive influence in the French Hill neighborhood, as well as revitalize Lincoln Street. My motion is to approve.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the $2 million grant for Lincoln Street Revitalization Project. Is there any discussion on the motion?
President Ossing, it's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, and my apologies, Councilor Oram. This is great. This is an amazing feat to get this money in to develop that area. It is sorely needed. I have recently been traveling that area by bike, and I thought it was bad by car, but oh my God, you know, the area definitely needs some development. So this is an amazing feat to get this amount to develop this area, and it's going to be a great change and a positive impact on the neighborhood.
Thank you, Councilor Doucette. Councilor Oram.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hidden within the details is the fact that the city does not have to match funds. So this is a strict $2 million strictly coming to the city for the redevelopment of mostly the streets, sidewalks, and so forth. So again, many thanks to all involved. I think, Mr. President, I think you were involved as well. So many thanks to everyone.
Well, no, thank you, Councilor Oram. It was a team effort, and we owe some debt of gratitude to the Baker and Polito administration for providing that funding as well. That will definitely help the neighborhood. Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
And Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
On the motion to approve the $2 million grant from MassWorks for the Lincoln Street Revitalization Project, it is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Number 11.
Communication from the mayor regarding grant acceptance in the amount of $2,144 from the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners for the public library to be used to hold virtual programming for children ages 3 to 10 in a variety of topics.
Mr. President.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you. I want to thank Director Cardillo with this submitting this grant. These will be well-needed funds during social distancing and for the summer programs for the library. Certainly a very good timing of this. My motion is to approve.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the grant of $2,144 for the library. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Counselor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Orem?
Council Orem votes yes.
Councilor Dumas?
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
A motion to approve the grant for $2,144 for the library is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Number 12.
Communication from the mayor regarding proposed salary ordinance amendment and updated job description for the position of Director of Civil Defense.
Mr. President,
Councilor Irish.
thank you. Motion to advertise and refer to the Finance Committee, please.
Motion's made and seconded to advertise the ordinance and refer to the Finance Committee. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Council Orem votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
On the motion to refer the Civil Defense Director's salary ordinance was referred to Finance and advertised. It is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 13.
Communication from the mayor regarding notification of a 60-day temporary appointment of Assistant Commissioner Theodore Scott as Acting Commissioner of Public Works.
Mr. President, Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas.
Motion to move and accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. President, I would suggest to everyone this is a good approval based on the actions we saw when it came down to our transfer station a week ago at the public service meeting. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Orem. Any other comments from the councilors? If not, I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
On the motion to accept and place on file the communication from the mayor, it is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 14.
Communication from City Solicitor Jason Grossfield regarding proposed grant of public trail easement pursuant to special permit for 96 Crowley Drive.
Mr. President.
Councilor Tenera.
All right, thank you. Just want to thank the city solicitor. He already did all the homework on this. It's all, it's done, so that's all we have to do is to approve it. So, motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve the public trail easement for Crowley Drive. And just as a little background for the councilors, this was the condition in the special permit that they had to provide the city with the easement before they can go apply for the building permit. So once this gets approved, they will then go apply for the building permit. Any discussion from the councilors? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the easement for the Crowley Drive project is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 15.
Communication from City Clerk Stephen Kerrigan regarding proposed acceptance of Mass General Law, Chapter 53, Section 9A.
Mr. President.
Councilor Tenera.
Thank you. I hate to put the city clerk on, short notice, but a motion to suspend to allow the city clerk to speak to this order.
So motion's been made and seconded to ask for suspension, so I'll have a clerk call the roll for the suspension.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The rules are suspended to allow the city clerk to enlighten us on Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 39.
Chapter 53, Section 9A. What this does is it just formally accepts something that the city has been doing for a number of years when we set the election calendar. And the election calendar that we set is for the local elections. The calendar for state and federal elections are obviously set by the Secretary of the Commonwealth. But this is for local elections, and it just formally sets the 48-hour time limit for people to come in and draw nomination papers that it closes 48 hours in advance. It's something that we have followed as a practice in the city for a number of years, but upon some research a little earlier, at the end of last year, we found that the city had not formally accepted this chapter and section of the law, which allows us to set the calendar, as we have been for decades. So it's just more of a formality to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 53, Section 9A.
Any questions or comments for the city clerk?
President Ossing? Madam Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is Councilor Roby. In the letter from Mr. Kerrigan, he states that this would impact future municipal elections, but it doesn't sound like it really would impact them negatively. It would just add a clarification. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes, Councilor. I probably should have stated that it is not going to negatively impact anything. We have set the 48-hour limit for the last 20-odd years that I've found going back looking at the timetables, but it just formally accepts it, that's all.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Councilor Tenera.
Motion to approve. Thank you.
I'm sorry, hang on. So, yep, I apologize. Councilor Doucette.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate it. I just got, you used a reference, Steve, as 48 weekday hours.
Yes, sir.
So can you clarify on that?
Sure. It's 2 business days. Weekends do not count. So when we set the election calendar, basically what ends up happening is we work backwards from the election day. Election day is always the first Tuesday following, or is in the city of Marlborough, I should say. Election day is the first Tuesday in November, unlike state elections where it's the first Tuesday following the first Monday. In the city charter here, we are the first Tuesday in November, irregardless of when it falls. So we take that as our election date, and then we work backwards with the calendar. And then it just basically gets us to, if it falls on a Sunday, it would go back to the Friday. It has to be 48 weekday hours. It has to be Monday through Friday, basically.
And at the same time?
I'm sorry? And in the same time, yes, consecutive, 48 hours consecutive, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification. I appreciate that.
All right, any other discussion? The motion has been made and seconded to approve Mass General Law, Chapter 53, Section 39. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
It is section 9A, not 39.
Am I reading this wrong? Gotta wear my
You
glasses.
read it wrong again, yes.
Yeah, I better keep my glasses on. My bad.
Correct you.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
I'm trying not to wear them. Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Make you feel better, I'll take mine off. Councilor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
All right, third time's the charm. So on a vote of 11-0, the council approves Mass General Laws, Chapter 53, Section 9A is approved 11-0. That was tough. Item 16.
Communication from Code Enforcement Officer Ethan Lippett regarding a request for approval of a flat wall sign for AV Nails and Spa at 115 Apex Drive, Unit C, within the Hospitality and Recreation Mixed Use Overlay District, order number 16-20-100-6443.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is in the HRMUOD, which means that the council is the approving authority. In our packet, we all had lovely pictures of the current sign, the new sign requested, which is only because of a change of name. I would move, unless there's a reason that somebody objects, I would move to approve rather than referring this to committee.
Motion made and seconded to approve the sign request. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
Motion to approve the sign that's on the building at Apex is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Item 17.
Communication from Code Enforcement Officer Ethan Lippett regarding a request for approval of a freestanding sign for AV Nails and Spa at 115 Apex Drive, Unit C, within the Hospitality and Recreation Mixed Use Overlay District, order number 16-20-100-6443.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you again. This is the sign to indicate the change of ownership from Dahlia Nails and Spa to AV Nails and Spa on the sign that's the big sign on Route 20 at Apex. Unless there's an objection, I would move to approve the new sign on the freestanding sign.
Motion made and seconded to approve the freestanding sign change. Any discussion from the councilors? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Council Oram votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
Motion to approve the freestanding sign at the Apex Center is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Councilor Navin, before we take up 18 and 19, anything you want to present?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. On advice from the solicitor, I have filed with the city clerk a public disclosure because I know the owner of the business in question personally. Based on my discussions with the solicitor, the relationship does not constitute a conflict of interest that would prevent me from participating in the matter. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Navin, and we'll have the record reflect that. Item 18.
Communication from Code Enforcement Officer Ethan Lippett regarding request for approval of a flat wall sign, Post Road carpet, 782 Boston Post Road East, within the Wayside District.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's my understanding that the only reason that this is in front of us as a council for approval of this sign is because it is located in the newly designated Wayside District, and we put in that language approval of signs. So this particular business is evidently been sold, and a new owner is changing the logo, and they're asking us for approval of a flat wall sign to replace an existing sign. We have all of the pictures, all of the information. I would, unless there's an objection and anybody wants this to go to committee for discussion, I would move to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve, and I will make sure I send a thank you card to Councilor Delano. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the sign for the facade of the building is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 19.
Communication from Code Enforcement Officer Ethan Lippett regarding request for approval of a freestanding sign, Post Road carpet at 782 Boston Post Road East, within the Wayside District.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, this is for the same business owner. There is a freestanding sign at the location, and again, they are matching their new logo and changing the sign. Again, unless there is a request by anybody, we move to approve the freestanding sign. As noted in this one and the other one, code enforcement is saying that it meets the code for all of the requirements for the size and the location.
Motion made and seconded to approve the freestanding sign for Post Road carpet. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve the freestanding sign change at Boston Post Road carpet is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item number 20.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding a favorable recommendation on the proposed rezoning of land off Valley Street identified as map 82, parcel 125, order number 20-100-7976A.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to accept and place on file the communication. Now that we have the planning board's recommendation, I believe the clerk is going to be, not the city clerk, but the council's assistant will be polling so we can set up a meeting next week to take up this order. So move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication from the planning board on the Valley Street zoning change. Any discussion from the councilors? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
And Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to approve or accept and place on file the communication from the planning board on the Valley Street rezoning change is approved or placed on file, 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 21.
Communication from the Planning Board regarding a favorable recommendation with proposed considerations on the proposed zoning amendment to Chapter 650 to add a new Section 38 relative to creating a large-scale ground-mounted solar photovoltaic overlay district, order number 20-100-7975A.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you. Move to accept and place on file the communication from the planning board. And again, now that we have that communication, we will set up a meeting to begin discussion on the ground-mounted solar voltaic overlay district.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the recommendation of the planning board on the solar overlay district. Any
Mr.
discussion?
President, Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem.
I'd just like to add there were two considerations from the planning board. First being that the appropriate screening from abutting neighborhoods be included in the installation, and that the installation be sited in such a way to preserve the scenic view from the rail trail. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Orem. Any other discussion from the councilors? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the communication from the planning board on the solar overlay district is placed on file by a vote of 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 21. Two.
Communication from Attorney Brian Falk on behalf of VD Naturals LLC regarding a request to extend time limitations to August 25th, 2020 at 10 p.m. on the application for a special permit to operate an adult-use marijuana retail establishment at 505 Boston Post Road West, order number 1920-100-7881C.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Urban Affairs Committee approved the extension at our meeting. This is information to just get filed, so I would move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the extension for VD Natural to 8/25/20. Is there any discussion from the councilors? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to read the roll, please.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Councilor Orem votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the extension for the VD Natural permit is approved, 11 in favor, none opposed. Item 23.
Application for a special permit from Local Roots New England, Inc. to operate an adult-use marijuana retail dispensary at 910 Boston Post Road East, Suite 100.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to refer to Urban Affairs to set a public hearing for September 14th and to advertise.
Motion made and seconded to refer to Urban Affairs, set a public hearing for September 14th, and to advertise. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to refer to Urban Affairs, set a public hearing for September 14th, and to advertise the local route special permit is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Item 24.
Communication from Central Mass Mosquito Control Project regarding personnel being in the community responding to residents' concerns about mosquitoes on various dates in July 2020.
Councilor Oram.
I can't even ask to speak yet. You must be watching those flights. Mr. President, as usual, this will be posted at the clerk's office, our city clerk's office, and usually Central Mass Mosquito Control will be around on Tuesday nights. Anything could change based on what happens as it relates to mosquito-borne illnesses, and that's in respect to a further type of aerial spraying. But right now, you can always reach Central Mass Mosquito Control to request spraying on your own property or to opt out. And the posting, I believe, Mr. Clerk, will be on your website.
Yes, sir. I will make sure it's posted.
Thank you. That's it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Accept and place on file. Councilor Oram?
Yes, Mr. President.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept and place on file the communication from Central Mass Mosquito. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the communication from Central Mass Mosquito is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 25.
Communication from Massachusetts Clean Water Trust regarding public comment period for implementing the Water Infrastructure Transfer Act.
Mr. President, Councilor Roby,
Councilor Roby.
I move to accept and place on file.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file the Mass Clean Water Trust communication. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the Mass Clean Water Trust communication is approved to file. 11 in favor, none opposed. Agenda item 26.
Minutes, boards, commissions, and committees.
President Ossing, it's Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette.
I vote to accept and place on file the minutes of boards, commissions, and committees listed under item 26.
Motion made and seconded to accept and place on file all the minutes from the boards, commissions, and committees A through H. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Councilor Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Council Orem votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to accept and place on file the minutes is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Reports of committees. Who would like to go first?
Mr. President, this is Councilor Roby. I can go first.
Councilor Roby.
Thank you. The City Council Urban Affairs Committee met on July 9th. We took up discussion, continued discussion from a meeting on June 24th for agenda item order number 19-100-7881, which is the application for a special permit by VD Naturals LLC, 505 Boston Post Road West, to operate an adult-use marijuana facility. We had discussion on the June 24th meeting and questions, and we left that meeting with work for the petitioner's attorney to come back with an updated special permit. So on July 9th, we discussed the changes to the special permit. In the findings section, they added number 16, signs and signage, to word it to say, prior to seeking an initial sign permit from the city, the applicant, its successors, and/or sign shall submit to the city council renderings of its proposed signage, which shall comply with the city sign ordinance. And number 17, finding that prior to commencing operation, the applicant, its successors, and/or signs shall submit to the city council its business name, logos, and symbols, all of which shall comply with state and federal law and regulations. And under conditions, we added 2 items to clarify the Boundary Street entrance and exit, and on the parking lot. These met with comments that had come from the building commissioner and the city engineer, and they were okay with the updates as brought forward to the council. So Councilor Doucette moved to refer to the council with a favorable recommendation, the special permit application of VD Natural to operate the marijuana facility together with the draft special permit decision as amended, and that was approved 5-0. Tonight, I am asking for a suspension of the rules so that this can be sent to the legal department and be put in proper legal form for our next agenda, our next council, which is on August 24th, and hopefully it is approved, which would put us one day ahead of the deadline for approval. So with that, I would ask for the suspension.
Motion made and seconded to suspend the rules to put the findings of the Urban Affairs Committee and send it to the solicitor, put in proper format so it can be voted on at our next council meeting. Any discussion on the motion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Orem.
Council Orem votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Excuse me. Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
11 yeas, sir.
The motion to suspend the rules to send the comments from the Urban Affairs to the solicitor to put it in proper format for the council to be able to vote at our August 24th meeting is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Anything else, Councilor Roby?
Other than look for an email from Ms. Boulay on the availability for next week for a meeting to take up the items that we got from the planning board with favorable recommendations.
Thank you, Councilor Roby. Any other reports of committees?
Mr. President, I do have a report, Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers.
Regarding order number 202-0108-042, communications from the Mayor Vigil with the proposed amendment to the city code regarding the transfer station, the residential drop-off facility, which is found in Chapter 540. The Public Service Committee met on July 9th and had a presentation from interim Department of Public Works Commissioner Kez Scott regarding the proposed changes to the transfer station that will make it more efficient, save taxpayers' dollars, and prevent some of the illegal use of the facility for non-residents. The ordinance remains in committee at this time. Although not required for this code change, I believe the City Council should advertise the ordinance, hold a public hearing to give residents an opportunity to learn more about the changes and to submit their comments if they choose. To that end, Mr. President, I respectfully move at this time that the City Council set the date of August 24th at 8 p.m. in the chamber, a public hearing on the proposed amendment to the Code, City Marlborough, Chapter 540, solid waste, making changes to the transfer station, the residence drop-off facility, operations, and associated fee, and to advertise the entire ordinance. That's the end of my report, Mr. President. So.
Thank you, Councilor Landers. So the chair seconds the motion to set a public hearing for August 24th at 8 o'clock for the resident drop-off facility ordinance change, and that it's advertised in its entirety. Do I have that correct, Councilor Landers?
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any discussion on the motion?
Councilor Pearlman?
Councilor Pearlman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to echo Councilor Landers' remarks and how I think it's a really great idea to have a public hearing, especially as there were a lot of questions around this. I know I received a lot of communication from residents who were interested in the changes and wanted to learn more, so I think it's wonderful that we're going to have a public hearing, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pearlman. Any other councilors? On the motion to set a public hearing for August 24th and to advertise the ordinance change in its entirety, I'll ask the clerk to call a roll, please.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Roby.
Councilor Roby votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Pearlman.
Councilor Pearlman votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Navin.
Councilor Navin votes yes.
Councilor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
11 yes, sir.
The motion to advertise a public hearing for August 24th for the ordinance change in its entirety on the resident drop-off facility is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Are there any other reports of committees?
Mr. President.
Councilor Navin.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Veterans Affairs Committee met on Thursday, July 9th at 6 p.m. The committee was present both in person and virtually, as well as many other members of the council. We were joined by Mayor Vigent and Marlborough Veterans Director Michael Hennessy. We took up order number 20-100-8043, communication from Mayor Vigent regarding the proposed naming of the new elementary school located at 441 Bolton Street, the softball field located at 441 Bolton Street, and the baseball field located at 25 Union Street in honor of deceased veterans of the Civil War, the Vietnam War, and World War II. Mayor Vigent addressed the committee to discuss the names that he submitted to be honored for the elementary school that was to be named after the Goodnow brothers, Theodore, Andrew, and Charles Goodnow, who were killed in action during the Civil War. For the softball field, in honor of Lance Corporal Richard Demers, a U.S. Marine killed in action during the Vietnam War. And for the baseball field, for dispersing clerk second class Harold Cole, who served in the Naval Reserve during World War II, and following an honorable discharge, later re-enlisted and was killed in a plane crash while on active duty. After the mayor gave his remarks, written testimony was received by members of various veterans organizations, which I then read into the record. We received testimony from Wayne Stanley, who's a past VFW and DAV commander and past president of the Marlborough Veterans Council, Michael A. Farrow, who's commander of the American Legion, Post 132, John Manning, who is the current Veterans Council president, Jim Bell, who's the commander of the Italian American War Veterans Post 45, and John Hall, commander of the Disabled American Veterans. Testimony focused on two main themes. One, that the elementary school should be officially named the Goodnow Brothers School, ensuring that people know that it honors three brothers who gave the ultimate sacrifice for their country and their community. And number two, that more thought and consideration should be given to naming the baseball field located at 25 Union Street in honor of Harold Cole before it's approved. Veterans were clear to note that dispersing clerk second-class Harold Cole's record of service to our country is honorable, and they are grateful for it. However, they believe that the city should be sure to have honored all veterans that were killed in action before honoring additional men and women who were served. With that, the committee voted to approve the naming of the elementary school, or to recommend approving the naming of the elementary school as the Goodnow Brothers School and the softball field as the Lance Corporal Richard Demers Field, and to postpone action on the baseball field located at 25 Union Street until we can meet again to discuss additional information, including the letter that we received from Mayor Vigent this evening. We expect to have that meeting in the next couple of weeks in time for the August 24th full council meeting. That is all I have for my report, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Well done. Thank you very much, Councilor Navin. Are there any other reports or any committee meetings to be noted?
Mr. President, Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers.
I have a comment. This would go to Councilor Navin. Is it the Goodnow School or Goodnow Elementary School?
The way that the motion came out of committee was the Goodnow Brothers School.
Yeah, see, I think that should be looked at. You know, we didn't do it to the middle school. It's kind of deceiving. You know, dealing with schools for many, many years, it helps to have the grade level in the name. Marlborough High School, Marlborough Middle School, Jarrick Elementary School, Francis Kane Elementary School. So I think we ought to, before we do the final vote on that, it's an elementary school. Let's get it in the title. That's all, Mr. President.
I'm sure the chair of the Veteran Affairs Committee, when he meets in the next couple of weeks, will be happy to address that comment.
I think we should look at it.
Mr. President, I know it's late, but I can't resist. I have to respond to the comments. Just quickly, I know specifically when we named Whitcomb School, I was on the school committee at the time, and there was a whole lot of discussion on whether to add a designation in it. Other than the high school, none of our elementary schools have a grade designation. So when it came to naming Whitcomb, there was a decision because it had changed many times on exactly what grades would be in the building, that it was a disservice to specify what it would be. So we left it off. I would respectfully request that there not be, and I would think that the school committee would also state there doesn't need to be a designation, because we don't know what this building might become 5 years from now.
Well,
okay, hang on, hey, whoa. The great no, hang on, Councilor Landers.
I didn't say anything.
All right, hang on. So this is reports of committees. You guys have great comments. You'll take it up in the committee section. We're moving on. Agenda item 27.
Order number 20-100-8026B, updated job descriptions for the Finance Director, Treasurer, and Auditor positions.
Mr. President.
Councilor Irish.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to approve the updated job descriptions.
Motion to approve both updated job descriptions for the Auditor and Finance Director has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilor Perlman.
Councilor Perlman votes yes.
Councilor Doucette.
Councilor Doucette votes yes.
Councilor Irish.
Councilor Irish votes yes.
Councilor Ossing.
Councilor Ossing votes yes.
Councilor Landers.
Councilor Landers votes yes.
Councilor Dumas.
Councilor Dumas votes yes.
Councilor Oram.
Councilor Oram votes yes.
Councilor Wagner.
Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Tenera.
Council Tenera votes yes.
11 yeas, sir. It is
The motion to approve both job descriptions is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed.
Mr. President,
Counselor Tenera, please.
can we go home now?
If you make a
You're already
motion.
home.
Can we go?
I'm not home.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Counselor Doucette.
Counselor Doucette votes yes.
Counselor Irish.
Counselor Irish votes yes.
Counselor Navin.
Counselor Navin votes yes.
Counselor Dumas.
Good golly, Counselor Dumas says yes.
Counselor Roby.
Counselor Roby says yes.
Counselor Oram.
Counselor Oram votes yay.
Counselor Tenera.
Councilor Tenera votes yes.
Counselor Perlman.
Counselor Perlman votes yes.
Counselor Wagner.
Council Wagner votes yes.
Counselor Ossing.
Counselor Ossing votes yes.
That's your vote no. Counselor Landers.
Councilor Landis votes yes.
That is 11 yeas, sir.
Motion to adjourn is approved. 11 in favor, none opposed. Councilors, long meeting. Thank you very much for your dedication and commitment to hanging in there tonight. Well done. I appreciate it. Get some sleep. We are adjourned.